Ooh, everybody, I'm Skip Alzheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime streaming show, where we watch old 16mm films and comment on them and share them, talk about them. We just watched a film. It looked like it was some educational short about Scotland, but is missing the title. And so I don't know a whole lot about it. But it's interesting nonetheless. We love it. All right, so yikes. We have so many films to watch. Let's go ahead and start off with one that's on the telecine. Telecine is a machine that we use to transfer directly from film to video, and what we're doing is going straight to the tubes that are the internet. And so here's Changes. Enjoy. Kind of fun. There was no narration to that. It was just visually great. So it was the antithesis of what we saw yesterday, the Weston Woods film with the iconographic film, where it was narration and lamely the camera just kind of panned around illustrations. So Gene Deitch or Deitch, I can't remember how you pronounce his name, was this animator who did a lot of interesting animation for Western Woods, but then also prior to that did work with Terry Toons, and also did some Tom and Jerry's, which some people absolutely hate, some people absolutely love. But Gene, one of his sons is Kim Deitch, and Kim helped create one of my favorite cartoons of all time, which is Quasi at the Quackadero, and he was and is a very famous underground cartoonist. So there you go. But that was pretty awesome, and I like how you guys have decided that 1972 is the best year for educational films. It's pretty funny. All right, let's learn about The Lady in the Light. Enjoy. Oh yeah, that was fascinating. So it was interesting looking in the comments. A couple of you made uh, observations that I was making as I was watching this film and kind of looking at it. One is Paddle. This was reminiscent of Paddle to the Sea, which is a great National Film Board of Canada film about a little boy who he carves a little canoe with a little wooden Indian in it, and he writes "Paddle to the Sea" on the end of it. And I can't remember if he puts his address or what, but he kind of releases it into a stream, which makes its way down into a river, which makes its way into, and so you get to see parts of Canadian geography. And it does end with a lighthouse keeper. The other thing that people notice is all the films I've shown today, none of them had narration, and that is not intentional. That was completely a fluke of me just pulling films at random. And so let's see. This next film is on the telecine behind me, and this is called Fireman, Fireman. So it's kind of like the last film that I showed on the telecine, which was called Changes, Changes. So let's see. Does this have narration? Don't know. One of the reasons that an educational film wouldn't have narration is because then they could shop it around to international markets, and basically you could have a film that doesn't require translation, doesn't require subtitling. So here's Fireman, Fireman. Enjoy.
Put a little salt on your food, it tastes good. Use too much, yuck. This, too, is the way it is with fire. Use fire correctly, it's a wonderful and useful thing. But when a fire gets out of control, it can destroy. And fire will produce smoke, even more dangerous than flames. When fire and smoke hurt us, we need to fight back. And our best firefighter? The fireman. The fireman's office is called a station. But it's an unusual office. Firemen can eat, even sleep there. Next to his bed are the fireman's boots, always ready for action. With this slick pole, the fireman can slide from upstairs to downstairs in a hurry. A large part of the station is a garage. That's where you'll find the fire truck. And on the truck is his fireproof coat. And his sturdy helmet, which will protect the fireman's head. There's a bell on the truck. And a siren that'll warn cars to move over when a fire truck's coming. Some trucks have a ladder to reach flames in high places. And, of course, a hose. It's a lot bigger than a garden hose at home. And everyone knows what comes out of a hose. Water.
The fireman goes to school, and there he learns all about fighting fire and also how to put it out. The truck he'll show our class, and we can see the fireman's tools. I may try his helmet while learning safety rules. At the station we can visit, there's a bell that we might ring. Hope the siren doesn't blow now, if it does my ears would sting. If fire should start at home, or if you see a puff of smoke, investigate the trouble, for fire is not a joke. And should you need some help, the operator is the one. Dial oh if there's a fire, and she'll get help to come. Fire, fire, the bell is ringing. That's the sound the firemen know. Now the captain takes the message, tells the men the place to go. Firemen, firemen, to the pole now, down the pole and holding tight. Grab your coat, prepare for battle, for you've got a fire to fight. The truck is moving fast, and men are clinging to the sides. A captain is the leader, and he is there to guide. The siren clears the way, the bell is adding to the noise. Smoke is in the distance, and fire is what destroys. The truck is on the scene. Off the truck the men will jump. A hose hooks to the hydrant and stretches to the pump. Water jerks the hose, and now the water starts to blast. Firemen hold it steady, and water breaks the glass. Up the ladder to the rooftop with an axe to chop a hole. Deadly smoke and gas escaping, it's a fire they must control. Smoke tumbles higher, smoke gets thick, it's hard to see. The roaring fire leaps upward and struggles to be free. A ladder comes in view, that means a fireman's on the way. A hose is gripped so tightly, there can be no delay. Water, water, spraying, splashing, covers everything in sight. Water, water, help the fireman, with it he will win the fight. The firemen load the truck. They get together all their tools, put up the hose and ladder, and mop up water pools. Ring the bell, the fire's defeated. They have done their job again. To the station, weary firemen have new task they must begin. A coat is hung with care. The closet is the place it goes. The helmets are inspected and then put in a row. The boots will be cleaned. Equipment has to pass the test. Now a long hot shower, then maybe I can rest. Down the pole out in the night, there's another fire to fight.
Someone who's always ready, day or night. That's the fireman. And something that's always ready is the truck. A quick way to get to the truck is by using the pole. The fire truck roars out of the station. A fireman never fights a fire without his helmet. Move out of the way when you hear a siren. One great danger the fireman faces is smoke. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Our number one weapon against fire is water. Water can reach a fire with the use of a hose. When flames are in high places, firemen use a ladder. A fireman is protected from fire and water by his coat. It's a good thing the fireman is wearing his boots. The fire's out. It's back to the station, sounding the truck's bell. Today, see how many fire alarm boxes you can find. Remember where they are. You never know when you might need the help of the fireman.
So I just want to see, did it credit who wrote the song? I've just missed it. Mississippi Central Center. One agree. Okay. Oh, I just spilled sauce on my pants. 1 second. I'm invisible here. All right, I'm back. Wow. That was... that was epic. So I see there's some new people on the stream today. So these are films from my collection of the AV Geeks collection, which we have over 30,000. maybe closer to 35,000. We're still kind of going through a collection to see what we have. But these I got from schools that were getting rid of them. And so I got them in auctions, or people just knew about me and just brought them, or said, hey, pick these up. So this is a confusing film, but there's some hints here. The big one is all the big words. So this is a vocabulary film, and this is for young primary age kids, primary school age kids, and it's to teach them, words and vocabulary. And so after you watch this, then the teacher would probably say, okay, let's write a story about a fireman, or about your experience with a fireman. And then they would write stories or draw pictures. So there you go. Now here's another weird thing that we do. When I show films about fire, I showed this as a follow-up.
What, may I ask, is a dear little cupcake like you doing with nasty old school books? My dear child, we haven't had school or books in ages.
No school? Really?
Why don't you get rid of that school book? You can drop them in here.
It'll get all burned up in there.
Well, of course it will, dear child. And so it should. Books tamper with man's basic, natural ignorance. Now, what could be worse than that?
But I can't burn this book. It's school property.
Nonsense! Apple sugar. You just need to get into the mood.
Books are not where it's at, teaching you how to spell cat. I know you'd rather play, so why don't you throw all your books away? Books are made for burning, the fire is already yearning to put an end to any learning.
1, 3, 5, 9, throw 'em in the fire's fire.
Put the books in the fire, see the flames growing higher. Burning books is our heart's desire.
2, 4, 6, 8, time to incinerate.
Books will not make you wise, and reading's bad for your eyes. I am sure you agree, so why don't you give all your books to me? Books are made for burning, fire is already yearning to put an end to any learning.
This one here is very good about a man named Robin Hood.
Put the books in the fire, see the flames growing higher. Burning books is our heart's desire.
No, I never liked Tom Sawyer. I won't be a book destroyer.
Books can only confuse, teaching you things you can't use. You should listen to me. Burning your books will set your mind free.
Books are made for burning. Fire is already yearning. Put it into any learning. Put the books in the fire. See the flames growing higher. Burning books is our heart's desire. Books are made for burning. Fire is already yearning. Put it into any learning. No, stop!
Yeah, there you go. That was, of course, a wonderful musical segment from the film Magnificent Major, which talks about the wonders of burning books, and it's set in the future. So I like busting that out. That's something you always can count on. Is if I'm going to show a film about fire, it's pretty likely I will follow up with that. Another thing that you can count on is the abacus.
Every second of the day and night use machines to help them solve number problems quickly and easily. These modern machines speed through tiresome jobs. Here is a machine that can add, subtract, multiply, divide, and do many other things. Man has come far from the days of long ago when the things he used for figuring were the built-in type. Man found his ready-made computing system very useful, but very limited. Man, being very clever, looked for better ways to tell how many. He began to use markers to keep track of things. Counters, notches and sticks, knots in a rope, or pebbles to stand for each animal in his flock helped him tell how many. That worked well for a while, but gradually his flocks grew larger and larger, and he began to own so many other things that using one counter for each object was too clumsy. Something quicker and easier was needed to show how many. What do you think man did to solve this problem? Well, he thought and he thought, and he developed the idea of taking 10 counters out of the original line of counters and then placing one counter in a line at the left to stand for 10 ones. This idea led him to make one of the first counting machines, which we call an abacus. The abacus was invented thousands of years ago, but it's still used today in many parts of the world. Here is a Chinese swan pond, a Japanese soroban, and a Russian shchoti. Although the idea of the abacus is very old, its use for us is as modern as satellites, space travel, and guided missiles. By understanding and using the abacus, we can discover the meaning of our decimal number system. Let's watch these children as they discuss some of the things they discovered about the number system. These are open-end abaci. They are boards on which we have fitted sticks to show groupings of ones, groupings of tens, groupings of hundreds, and groupings of thousands. We put counters on the sticks to show how many of each grouping we have. We really carry in addition when we add 8 and 4 on our abacus. We put 8 counters on the one stick, and then we put on 4 more, and we have 12 counters. But on our abacus, just as when we write numbers, the largest value we show in one position is 9. When we have 10 or more counters on any stick, we take 10 counters off and use one counter to stand for a group of 10. So we take 10 counters off the one stick and use one of the 10 counters to place on the 10 stick. The one counter on the 10 stick stands for one group of 10. We have 1 10 and 2 ones, or 12. Can you add 26 and 16 on your abacus? We show 26 on the abacus as 2 10s and 6 ones. Now we add 6 ones to the ones position. This makes 12 ones. So we take 10 counters off the one stick. The 10 counters are used as one group of 10. Then we add 1 10. We have 4 10s and 2 ones. We can read the answer on the abacus, 42. If we add 43 and 72, it works like this. 3 ones and 2 ones make 5 ones. 4 10s and 7 10s make 11 10s. What do we do if we have 10 or more counters on the 10 stick? We take 10 of the counters off the 10 stick and group them as 100 on the 100 stick. The abacus shows 115 as our answer. Let's see how we show zeros on our abacus. We add 5 ones and 5 ones and we have 10 ones. When we take the 10 counters off the 1 stick and put 1 counter on the 10 stick to show a group of 110, there aren't any counters on the 1 stick. When we write 5 plus 5 equals 10, we use a 0 to show not any ones. Do we need a 0 on the abacus? Well, let's see. On the abacus, we don't need a special counter or marker for a 0. The stick that hasn't any counters is kind of 0. The stick holds the player, not any. Do you see why we talk about carrying in addition? When we group 10 ones to 110, we say we carry 1. We mean that we group the 10 ones to 110. When we group 10 tens to 100, we carry 100. The 1 we carry always stands for a group of 10 of the value to its right. Subtraction works in the opposite direction from addition. When we add, we increase. When we subtract, we decrease. There are 2 directions for counting: increase and decrease. Let's work this example. To work the example, we can show 35 on the abacus, 3 tens and 5 ones. Then we can subtract the ones. 5 ones minus 2 ones leaves 3 ones. Next we subtract the tens. 3 tens minus 1 10 leaves 2 tens. The answer, 23. But what about 42 minus 16? We'd show 42 on the abacus. We want to take away 6 ones. But since 6 ones are more than 2 ones, we must use one of the 4 tens, leaving 3 tens. We regroup the 110 to 10 ones, adding them to the 2 ones, making 12 ones. We subtract 6 ones from the 12 ones, leaving 6 ones. 3 tens minus 1 10 leaves 2 tens. Our answer is 26. Grouping 10 ones to 110 and regrouping 110 to 10 ones is like trading 1 dime for 10 pennies, or 10 pennies for 1 dime. 10 pennies and 1 dime are equal in money value. Grouping 10 tens to 100 and regrouping 100 to 10 tens is like trading 10 dimes for $1, or like trading $1 for 10 dimes. And on our abacus, 1 counter on the 10 stick stands for 10 counters on the 1 stick. One counter on the 100 stick stands for 10 counters on the 10 stick. Do you see what is true? Each time we move a counter 1 place to the left, it stands for a value that is 10 times as large as it was before. If we move a counter 2 places to the left, it stands for a number value that is 100 times as large as it was before. Look, do you see this idea? 3 counters on the 10 stick stand for a value that is 10 times as much as 3 counters on the 1 stick. The 3 counters on the 1 stick have a value 10 as small as the 3 counters on the 10 stick. As man needed to show larger and larger numbers, he could keep adding more sticks to his abacus. As in writing numbers, we can keep on, and there is no last number. The ideas that work with ones, tens, hundreds, and thousands can go to tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions, billions, and on and on and on. Use the abacus you receive with the film to illustrate the things that we have discussed. Now you'll want to include these ideas. Positions on the abacus are like positions that we use when we write numbers, ones, tens, hundreds, and so on. The largest number value we write in a position is 9. On the abacus, we show only 9 counters on any 1 stick. When we add numbers such as 8 and 8, We have 16 counters on the stick, but we group them as 1 10 and 6 ones. When we subtract, we can regroup 1 10 to 10 ones, 100 to 10 tens, and so on. The stick that doesn't have any counters on it acts as a placeholder. It serves like the 0 we use when we write numbers. The ideas of grouping and regrouping are great ideas. Show how they work on your abacus or by telling about them in your class. The number system is one of the greatest things that man ever invented. The abacus can help you understand the number system. If you understand the how and why of mathematics, mathematics will be one of your favorite subjects.
We had a good thing going and then had to show the Abacus film and everything grounded to a halt. It happens sometimes, but thanks for tuning in today. And I have noted that the Fireman song could be a potential toe-tapping tournament song that we could vote on probably in February, and then take on the found footage guys in March or April and trounce them again. If you don't know what that is, Found Footage Festival, they collect videotapes and they do kind of their version of March Madness, but with jingles from some of their videos. And I think at some point, Joe, who's one of the Found Footage Festival folks, was like, oh, we should get AV Geeks involved in this. And then I was like, all right, challenge accepted. And we trounced them with Shake Hands with Danger, partially because we had the person who wrote the song as a judge. Which they were totally okay with, and I was like, are you sure? So anyways, Shake Hands with Danger won and is now off the table, and the spoils of winning are behind me. I get to keep my clown Thanksgiving painting, thrift store painting, and they gave me a painting that they had commissioned from the video The Club, which is a public access show that I found. But thanks for tuning in today. Tomorrow, join us. I think it's gonna be about veterans, but I don't think it's gonna be about active military. I think we're gonna challenge myself and try to show just stuff about veterans, about post-serving in the military. I'm gonna go through and see what I can find that might fit. Yeah. So it'll be interesting nonetheless. But thanks again. If you like what you saw, you can buy us coffee at buymeacoffee.com/avgeeks. You can also go to avgeeks.com and see other things that we put online. And hitting the like button or the thumbs up button, it costs you nothing. And it helps us a lot because it basically introduces our stream to other people who are like, oh, this is, who have similar likes to what we do. And so we get new people and new eyeballs, and we love new eyeballs. They're delicious. So everybody have a great rest of your day. Please rewind and love each other, and we will see you again tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Everybody take care.